everybody, how's it going? This is Danny, the Wicked Awesome Gardener, and we are here with the winners of the first slicer brackets. I'm psyched, a little disappointed, but all in all, this is going to be great. We've got the first 4 slicing tomatoes that are going to go into the garden this year. After I announce these winners, I'm going to go get the next 16 that you guys are going to vote on. We're going to have the voting go today through Wednesday. I will make the video, post it on Thursday, and get the next round of voting, and then that's it. On Sunday next week, we're going to have the answer. All the tomatoes that are growing in my garden this year. And then I'll probably do a separate video with my extra picks because, like I said, I do get 10 plants in the canning garden, so I'll be able to pick 2 tomato plants to go there. I'm going to pick a cherry tomato plant to go in the family garden, and then in the home garden, I'm going to get to pick 2 slicers. And I'm having a hard time narrowing that down, so I might add an extra bed and grow a couple more, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Let's get to the winners. So the first matchup was Rose versus True Black Brandywine. And Rose just got left in the dust. It got 1 single vote. So we have True Black Brandywine. Then when it came to Cherokee Purple and Gold Medal, it was a dead heat the whole way. It was just flip-flopping one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, which one's in the lead. But we ended up with Gold Medal. Now, I'm really excited about that because I grew Gold Medal last year and it was really, really good. But the sad thing is we lose Cherokee Purple. So that may be one of the ones that I choose as my pick to go in the garden. So let's get on to Ananas Noir versus Chocolate Stripes. And this was another one that was one then the other, one then the other, one then the other. Honestly, they really all were. These all almost came down within a couple of votes. But in the end, it was Ananas Noir. And here's the one that made me kind of disappointed. German Johnson versus Get Stuffed. Now, Rochelle from Brampton Gardener said that she voted German Johnson just because she wants to hear me say German Johnson all season long when I'm talking about my tomatoes. And I'm like, you really think German Johnson is funnier than Get Stuffed? Come on. You're wrong, but you did pick the winner. So in the end, German Johnson took it by a couple of votes over Get Stuffed. I was actually really looking forward to Get Stuffed being in the garden because I want to take those hollow tomatoes and make a tomato taco. You know, I want to stuff it with meat and cheese and top it with some lettuce and just... But I have been robbed. I have been robbed. Now, Get Stuffed might be one of the ones that I do pick to grow in the garden this year, but I don't know. As much as I want those tomato tacos, they might have to lose out to some of the tomatoes that are going to go into this next bracket that don't get voted into the final 4. So we'll have to see. There's some really great tomatoes in this one. I'm pretty sure I can already pick at least one of the winners, but let's go ahead and look at them and then we'll get you your next round of brackets. Okay, so it took me a while to set up these brackets because it was really hard to get them into like appropriate matches and kind of hopefully when we come down to it, we're going to have some pretty great diversity of tomatoes because already we have a yellow tomato, a black tomato, a multicolored tomato, and a good red tomato. So with the, you know, the True Black Brandywine, the Ananas Noir, the German Johnson, the Gold Medal. So hopefully with the rest of these, we get some really good variety. So we're going to start out with a nice basic red just called Delicious. And I don't know much about this one. I've never grown it before, but it can get as big as 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. So for that, I matched it up with pink brandywine. And these seeds come from some pink brandywines that I grew in 2020 that just were delicious. And last year, they grew some really tasty tomatoes. So I'm still working off those 2020 seeds. Great germination rates, so yay. but these both get about the same size, so I figured we would match them up together. So delicious pink Brandywine. Had to take the light down a little bit there, so if you see a shift, don't worry about that. It's just shining a little bit too much off of these seed packets and making them harder for you guys to see. So bracket number 2, we have one that I don't have the seed packet for. It's in Kristen's hands, the host of the Cannon Garden, but we're going to do Vintage Wine, which is a very cool stripy tomato, versus Green Zebra. So we're putting a couple of stripy ones together. I've done that in a couple of these brackets because I don't want to end up like with all stripes, but I think we're going to end up with some. So Green Zebra, Vintage Wine. I grew Vintage Wine last year and it was really tasty. I was trying to grow Green Zebra from some little baby starts that my friend gave me, but she started them in teeny tiny little Jiffy pods and not in the light. So she didn't have a sunny window anywhere in the house. So they just started and struggled and I couldn't bring them back. Bracket number 3, I think, is going to be no contest. There's a real heavy hitter in this one. So first up, we have Bertram's New Generation. This is another seed that I won from Joe, the Garden State Gardener, over at his channel on his Sunday night seed giveaways. So make sure you check out his channel, Garden State Gardener. Get into the registration video during the week so that you're on the wheel for the Sunday night giveaway. I don't know too much about this tomato other than it's a large tomato, it's an indeterminate, and it's supposed to be pretty tasty, but it's going up against the M.I. Gardener Giant Crimson. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know how excited I am about these seeds and how excited many people are about these seeds. Luke from M.I. Gardener wanted to show that you could germinate old seeds. And so he decided to find the oldest seeds that he could, found a shadow box that used to hang in the office of a seed company that had a few packets in it, and in there were the Giant Crimson seeds. This variety had basically gone extinct. It hasn't been commercially available in over 50 years from everything that I can tell from the research that I myself have done trying to find them, because some people have cast a lot of aspersions on Luke saying either, well, they went out because they just weren't a good variety, or they totally are still available and this is a lie. But I can't find them anywhere, and I have looked, trust me, because I wanted to, it's kind of like a trust but verify thing. And this is just such a cool story. I'm so excited to grow them. By the way, if anybody did miss their chance to get these seeds when Luke was making them available, because they are sold out now, next year they will be widely available at places like Baker Creek and M.I. Gardener. So if you can't grow them this year, you're going to be able to get them next year. But if you are set on growing them this year, you're really bummed that you missed out. I am actually raffling off my second pack. So if you go and watch the video that I posted on either December 30th or December 31st, I can't remember if it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Eve. I have a contest for how to get entered into the raffle to win the Giant Crimson seeds. And there's only 2 people in that raffle right now, so you stand a pretty decent chance of winning. Anyway, bracket number 3, Bertram's New Generation versus Giant Crimson. I wonder what the winner is going to be. Next up, I matched these up mainly for fun and because I don't want to end up with all striped tomatoes, but I think in the end we're at least going to have one, so that'll be great. But this is kind of just a kooky, fun matchup for this one. We have Berkeley Tie-Dye Pink versus Berkeley Tie-Dye Green. So I like how the pink is kind of dark and has that like dark green, and then the green tomato has brighter colors like pinks and lighter greens, and it just looks really cool. I wish this one had a cross section on the seed packet like the green does, but that's okay. So Berkeley Tie-Dye Pink, Berkeley Tie-Dye Green, you pick. Bracket number 5, we have a tomato that I grew last year, Valencia, versus Pink Jazz, which is a really cool kind of striped tomato, little kind of bumpy almost, like a mushroom basket or something. Valencia was an interesting tomato, I'll tell you that. It was extremely prolific. The amount of tomatoes that I got off of this plant was crazy. Like, I couldn't eat them fast enough. The Valencia tomato was very sweet. It still, it still tasted like a tomato, but different. And the flesh of the tomato was also very different. It was almost like, more like a peach. It was very, very smooth. And so it was kind of weird, but it wasn't a bad weird. So I would grow that again. That is why I saved the seeds. So Valencia versus Pink Jazz, which I think just looks awesome. Like they're both really cool looking tomatoes. So I would be happy with whatever you pick. So go ahead. Valencia tomatoes versus Pink Jazz. Next up, I paired a couple of solid red tomatoes. We've got Prudence Purple, which honestly from the name I thought would be a purple tomato, like a Cherokee purple or something like that. But no, they just look like they're a basic red. This is a decently sized fruit. It's not one of the giant ones that get 2+ pounds, but it is very prolific. It's a heavy producer. So that's going to be very fun. Have never tasted this one, but I think it'll be all right. But it's going up against Mortgage Lifter, and these are the big boys. These can get well over 2 pounds in the right growing conditions. So I grew them last year, and then I lost track of which one was my Pink Brandywine and which one was my Mortgage Lifter. And they both produced some really big tomatoes, close to 2 pounds. So I really don't know yet what they taste like, because I could have been eating a Brandywine. So Prudence Purple and Mortgage Lifter. Mortgage Lifter does have a funny story to it. This came from a guy in the 20s. His name was Radiator Charlie because he had a radiator shop at the bottom of a mountain. Talk about location, location, location. But he developed this kind of tomato, and it was just gigantic. And he started selling the plants, not just seeds, but the plants for $1 a plant. That's how prolific they can be, how heavy yielding they can be. And so people were willing to pay $1 a plant in the 1920s, 1930s. And so he used that to pay off his mortgage. So that's why he ended up calling it the Mortgage Lifter. Interesting story, especially me being a real estate agent, anything dealing with that type of thing. I don't know, I just kind of like. Bracket number 7, we have a couple more black tomatoes. And I know that True Black Brandywine did win in the first round of slicing brackets. That was something that I won from Joe over at Garden State Gardener. I have already spoken about him in this video. Make sure you go check him out. But when I won those, I had already ordered and had on the way from M.I. Gardener the Black Brandywine. So I don't know if Black Brandywine and True Black Brandywine are the same plant. They have a different name. I don't know if they're the same cultivar or what. So I'm tempted to grow the True Black Brandywine and the Black Brandywine and see if they come out any different. And if these don't win this year, that's fine. I'll grow them next year and I'll just compare and contrast then. But for bracket number 7, we do have Black Brandywine, and we're putting that up against Paul Robeson. Now, I have never had these. They seem to be a favorite among some of the bigger YouTubers. I know that Luke from M.I. Gardener does really like these. Jess at Roots and Refuge Farms, this is like one of her must-grow every year seeds. It supposedly has a very smoky flavor, which intrigues me because I'd like to see kind of like a smoky flavored tomato. I'd definitely like to try that out. So, Black Brandywine, Paul Robeson, let's find out what wins. Okay, so we had the battle of the tie-dye striped tomatoes, the red tomatoes, the black tomatoes, and now for bracket number 8, we have the yellow tomatoes. So first we have the classic Kellogg's Breakfast. These are huge tomatoes. They are very tasty. They look really cool in the garden, and we've got those up against Thorburns Lemon Blush, which also just look awesome. So either of these would be really great. I grew Kellogg's Breakfast last year. They were delicious. This I won over the winter, again, from Joe at Garden State Gardener. See, you really got to get in on his Sunday fun days and get on his wheel so that you can win some seeds, because he gives out awesome stuff from Baker Creek, from M.I. Gardener, from Ukrainian Seeds. I don't know the name of the company, but I've got a couple of Ukrainian seeds in here. It's awesome. You definitely got to check it out. So to recap, here are your brackets for this week. We have Delicious versus Pink Brandywine, Vintage Wine versus Green Zebra, Burcham's New Generation versus Giant Crimson, Valencia versus Pink Jazz. Berkeley Tie-Dye Pink versus Berkeley Tie-Dye Green. Prudence Purple versus Mortgage Lifter. Black Brandywine versus Paul Robeson. And Kellogg's Breakfast versus Thorburns Yellow Blush. I'm going to edit this right away so that I can get it straight up for you guys on YouTube, and then I am out for a crazy day of filming outside in the garden. Yes, we're going to get some seeds in the ground. We're going to do a garden tour of the home garden. We're going to take a look at the dilapidated, falling down pigeon loft that I'm thinking about turning into a coop for some chickens. Ah! Yeah. Oh, I got plans. I got plans. So, and also thank you to all of those who came to my pop-up live last night to give me advice on how big I should be making my chicken coop and how big not to make my chicken coop so that I don't end up a victim of chicken math. It's going to be a really, really busy week for me between work and it being tech week for the show. We're doing Cruel Intentions, the 90s musical at my theater group, and it's Friday and Saturday. So I won't get a chance really to film anything again until Sunday. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of content coming out for you guys. And I don't want to feel on Sunday next week that I have to go and film a whole bunch more. I want to be able to relax after a crazy week. So this is going to give me the opportunity today with this gorgeous weather to get a whole bunch filmed for you guys. I can edit it throughout the week, get you guys some videos. It's going to be really great. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're already subscribed, hit the bell icon so that you get notifications when I go live, when I post a video, so that you stay up to date. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to plant some seeds so that we can have some wicked awesome food from our yard to our table. Bye-bye.